All right, we go back to college football now. Friday night action, Friday night lights. Temple taking on Cincinnati. We got the Bearcats here, 29 and a half, actually 28 and a half to 29 is currently where the number is in this game. 52 and a half to as high as 54 with the current total in this one. This is obviously not a Cincinnati spot. There's no question about that. They're off the huge, massive game and victory against Notre Dame. That's now two big, marquee, important Power 5 school victories for Cincinnati this year, beating Indiana and now, of course, beating Notre Dame last weekend. Obviously, we know this football team's outstanding, both sides of the football. Just an terrific defensive effort last week against Notre Dame in that 24-13 win. They forced a bunch of turnovers as well, which was good to see. Jack Cohen struggled. Now, look, he got injured in that game, and Drew Pine had to take over, which didn't help the cause much for Notre Dame, but it was still a very good defensive effort from a very good defensive football team. Desmond Ridder, against a Notre Dame defense that's actually improved the last few weeks, wasn't a wow performance, but he was efficient. He played a clean game, no mistakes, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, almost 300 passing yards, 19-32. So solid performance overall from him. We'll see how Cincinnati can respond now, because we've seen these before, Connor, where you have these big wins. Remember what happened to Fresno, right? A couple weeks ago when they played UCLA. Huge win for them. And then the next week they're sleepwalking for well into the third quarter before they finally woke up and started playing better, more focused, intense football. And you worry about this situation for Cincinnati now playing. And look, they've got Central Florida in a couple of weeks as well. So a couple weeks. That's their next game after this one, Central Florida. So that one's a big one, and this one doesn't seem too big when it's all said and done. I'm tempted to take the points with Temple. If not for the full game here, at least for the first quarter, first half, that maybe early in the game they catch Cincinnati a little bit asleep, just a bit, because I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Temple side a little bit last few weeks. I mean, they beat up Wagner's not saying anything, but Memphis, 34-31. They outgained them by 21 yards. They won outright, as home underdogs, double-digit home underdogs in that game against Memphis on Saturday. They're playing better than I thought they would, and I thought this would be just a team I'd be looking to fade. And, Rod Carey's still not one of my favorite head coaches by any stretch of the imagination, but you also look at series history, the last 2 meetings, 2018, 2019, Temple won in overtime and Cincinnati won by 2, and the series history is Temple's covered 5 straight head-to-head against Cincinnati. So this is not the spot. I am laying more than 4 touchdowns with Cincinnati. I can tell you that. Clearly, they're the much better, well-rounded team, and you worry about the Temple defense still, because it still is, a unit that's susceptible to giving up points and big plays. But when it's all said and done, this is just not at all. This is handicapping 101 in college football to me. You've got Central Florida next week. You're coming off a huge win against Notre Dame. You've really put a lot of stock and effort into that game, and now you're laying more than 4 touchdowns here following a big win like that. And look, Temple has been competitive now and better. And look, their yards per play, they're actually plus yards per play on the season, Temple, plus in that category. That means something. That tells you that they are not getting outmanned in the trenches. They are finding ways to move the football. They're finding ways to at least get necessary stops when they need to. So there's definitely no doubt. I have taken notice that Temple has improved their play the last few weeks. And if they show that again here, Connor, maybe they can hang within 4 touchdowns. It seems like a large number. I'm definitely leaning to the big dog here in this spot. What do you think, Connor? Temple, Cincinnati.
Yeah, this easily could be the sleepwalk, especially early on. First half, you talked about it. Getting 17 Temple is in the first half. We all talked about on the show Saturday, Temple's live here. Now that you're catching the points, we think maybe they could win it, and they ended up winning it. Game went over. Their defense is still horrible. So I think maybe, early on, this kind of could be just the huge win in Notre Dame. But I think Cincinnati takes care of business. But, I'm not going to lay that many right now with them. Maybe an in-game on Cincinnati, but maybe look Temple, like I said, with the 17 in the first half. And the defense still is getting shredded, but Mathis, they've been able to move the ball. And the one thing Cincinnati can hang its hat on, they have a great defense. I mean, look what Notre Dame couldn't do anything really. Cohn's banged up all game. But they still have that great defense. So can Temple put up some points? Maybe a little bit if they're sleepwalking, but their defense has been really, really good. Just a difficult one. Yeah, maybe look for the bargain with the points early, but just not one that I love either here.
I'll say this: they might have something going at quarterback in Dewan Mathis. Again, a Georgia
Yes.
transfer. This is a guy that
Yes.
got recruited by Georgia, so he obviously can play a little bit. A dual threat, he's capable of running with the football a little bit. He had 4 carries, 53 yards against Memphis. Very good through the air, and just quietly flying way under the radar because it's Temple, a team that was expected to be a doormat in the AAC this year. He's had 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. And 61.9% completions, and he's taking care of the football. That will be put to the test. And Mike Smith saying that in the chat, Temple won't score. That will be put to the test by Cincinnati, because the one thing you can say, Memphis's defense, Wagner's defense, it's nothing like he's going to see here. And Boston College is the best defense they've played. And you could say Rutgers too. They got 14 against Rutgers. They got 3 against Boston College. So you do worry about that. Is that offense going to be able to work here against Cincinnati? But again, it might, just because what if this is Fresno part 2, where Cincinnati's just, lollygagging, asleep early in the game? That's the
could
dilemma.
happen. Yeah. But Fresno, a little different team, as we've seen. This Cincinnati has a defense. They don't. Yeah. But yeah, you got to be leery here a little bit.
The thing that gives me faith, if you're Temple, is that the 1 interception so far through the first few games here for Mathis, he's done a good job protecting the football. He has to, because the one thing Cincinnati does, they are a ball hawking defense. They force turnovers, and if you're going to be, if you're not going to be able to have ball security and make good decisions with the football, they can make you pay for it. And the good news for Mathis going into this game, only the 1 pick on the year.